But the moment he drank that wine at the wedding, he went completely mad right there in the wedding hall. A bitter, burning taste exploded in his mouth. Only then did he remember what I once told him. If the day ever comes when I don't love you anymore, the only thing you'll taste in my wine is bitterness. On the night we were supposed to pick out my wedding dress, he was nowhere to be found. When I went to his office, it was absolutely packed and buzzing with excitement. Congratulations, lawyer He. Congratulations. You won the lawsuit. And you got the girl too, right? After all these years, Nanan, your childhood sweetheart, is finally back by your side. Does this mean your wedding with Du Tao is postponed indefinitely? Surrounded by the crowd, Xia lowered his eyes and said coldly, "Don't compare Du Tao to Nanan. Nanan can't survive without me. But Du Tao will be just fine." I stood outside the door and tossed the wine I had brewed for him straight into the trash. I don't give a damn about this dramatic, can live without you kind of love. Just as I walked out of the law firm, Chu called my phone. His voice was very low, full of forced apology. "Daozi, the firm is celebrating our victory tonight. Can we put off picking out the wedding dress for a bit?" I watched Sunan walk into the firm, smiled, and said, "Sure, we don't even need to pick one anymore." She replied, "You're always so sweet, Daozi. Just pick whatever style you want. As long as you like it, I'll love it too." I had heard him say those words countless times. I used to think it meant he trusted me, that it was a sign of absolute security. But now, those words felt like a cruel, endless mockery. I guess when you don't care, you truly don't mind. "Okay," I said, "I'll take care of everything." After I hung up, I immediately canceled the wedding dress appointment. At that moment, a massive weight was lifted from my chest, and I didn't feel a single shred of regret. She and I first met in a wine brewing workshop. Back then, his perfect profile seemed to add a touch of sweetness to the very air we breathed. And just like that, my wine had a new flavor. The flavor of falling in love. Try this. It's my latest batch. Smell it. Isn't it amazing? Do you like this flavor? Tell me. Every single day, I was like a happy little bird, chirping away by his side. Slowly, we started sharing everything, drinking, together. He never got tired of being my guinea pig, tasting every single batch I brewed, until finally that earth-shattering confession. I like you, ended our 30 days of sweet, unspoken tension. My love was active, always giving, but he was like a hollow puppet. He just mechanically agreed to everything I asked. Even his affection felt programmed. Yet, I was so foolishly happy, thinking this was his way of showing me unconditional devotion. But the moment I saw Sunan, it hit me. All the time Chi spent with me, he was just searching for her shadow. Turns out, I was nothing but a cure for his loneliness. Just as I was about to drive away, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating with texts from an unknown number. "Hey there, Daozi. It says really busy right now. Could you bring over 2 bottles of wine?"
SI specifically asked for that Nianxin batch.
He always tells me, "The wine you brew tastes just like me. Thank you for keeping my memory alive for him." Nianxin was supposed to be the wine she and I brewed together. I provided the craft, and he was my taste tester. It took me 20 attempts just to earn a smile from him. That was when he needed meaning. The one who is always on his mind. The one he could never forget. I thought he was describing our love, never realizing his childhood sweetheart had already won, long before I ever stood a chance. My hands were shaking so hard, I didn't even have the strength to reply. I can't go back to how things were, and I can't seem to move forward. But a voice deep inside me grew incredibly clear. It was all just one-sided wishful thinking. It's time to wake up. I walked back into the wine cellar and pulled out the last 4 bottles of Nianxin. We barely made any of this batch, not because I didn't want to mass produce it, but because he too wouldn't let me. He told me this wine was exclusive to us, that he didn't want to share it with anyone else. So Nianxin was only ever opened on our anniversaries. We raised our glasses to the bright moon, laughing and sharing our joy. We reveled in each other's tender affection. We promised each other forever and ever. Tears from the corners of his eyes streamed down my shoulder, over and over again. Back then, I was so incredibly happy, foolishly believing that he loved me to his very core. Only now do I realize he was just longing for another woman. Inside the private room, she was shielding Sunan from the drinks, completely oblivious to me standing right at the door. His cheeks were slightly flushed, and that warm smile never left his face. In 3 long years, this was the first time I'd ever seen him like this. At this moment, Chi was absolutely thrilled, wearing a look of pure satisfaction he never once showed when he was with me. "All right, everyone. Let's congratulate Lawyer He on finally winning his dream girl." Haha, Sister Lan, you have no idea. When she got married, she went missing for an entire month. Yeah, thank goodness he ran into Du Tao back then. Otherwise, who knows what would have become of him. Hearing my name was like a needle to the heart, instantly freezing the happy atmosphere in the room. I looked at the silent crowd, but deep down, I was still desperately hoping for some validation from He-Chi. I stared at him, my eyes locked onto his,
as if doing so could make him acknowledge the feelings we shared.
but holding on rarely brings the answers we crave. After a long silence,
He tightly gripped Sonan's hand.
and said, "She is my only cure." Sunan had already noticed me standing at the door. Her arrogant gaze had already declared her victory. I knew this lively scene didn't welcome me at all. So I gestured for the waiter to bring the wine inside. The man, who had been smiling, panicked for a split second the moment he saw me at the door, just as he was about to walk toward me. Sunan suddenly threw her arms around him, meeting his gaze. I chose to turn around. In that very moment, I fled the battlefield. I was a coward when it came to love, lacking the courage to take back what was mine in front of everyone. Inside the taxi, messages from Sunan kept blowing up my phone. In the video, amidst the cheers of the crowd, He-Chi made a grand public confession of his love to Sunan. He spoke with absolute certainty, while Sunan listened, her face flushing crimson. "Dadao, thank you for the wine you brewed for me. Hertz has never belonged to you. I hope you know your place." 3 years have passed. The lioness has reclaimed her territory once again, and for any other competitors, they must either die or flee to a far-off land. Because none of this ever belonged to me in the first place. When I got home, the memories hit me like a slow poison. Our matching slippers were neatly arranged by the door, except Hertz's pair looked brand new. The matching mugs were brightly colored, but his was already covered in dust. The matching pajamas swayed in the breeze, but Hertz's set had never once been worn.
My life with Hertz was so hollow. Like two lines that crossed for a split second, only to run parallel forever.
We looked like a couple, but we were already total strangers. He hated everything I prepared for him, but he went along with it, all because of Sunan. Hertz had never truly betrayed Sunan. I was just an accident. The ringing of my phone suddenly snapped me back to reality. Wedding photographer asked politely, "Miss Du, I heard you canceled the wedding dress reservation. What about the photo shoot tomorrow?" I stared at the empty room, looking at the life we had shared, and said, without a single shred of regret, "Cancel that too." Just as I was about to throw out all these matching couples items, the sound of Hertz opening the door made me freeze. Seeing me, the tension in Hertz's shoulders seemed to melt away. He took my hand, smiling so gently. "Thank you for being so understanding, my little fairy Tozy. I really loved the wine tonight."
Daila loved it too. Seeing my silence, he quickly explained with all the patience in the world,
"You know how Sunan is. We grew up together. We're just buddies. You're not jealous, are you? My sweet Thousie is too good to get jealous." Before the words even left his mouth, he leaned down and kissed my forehead. Every time Hertz got drunk, he treated me differently. He became like an obedient little puppy. "Hertz, say you love me, Daohi." "I love you, Hertz." "Say you miss me." "Tozy, I miss you." "He-Q, call me your wife." "Tozy, my wife." All the things he could never bring himself to say when sober, he finally blurted out with absolutely no hesitation. And I secretly rejoiced over this, for a very long time. His gentleness, his thoughtfulness, his deep affection. I only ever fully possessed them under the influence of alcohol. Every single time, I would repeat the same words, to test my worth in his heart. Luckily, I always got the answers I wanted. I used this illusory love to quiet the insecurity deep inside. Not now. I'm tired of hearing it. I clenched my fists, looked at him with determined eyes, and spoke. "He-Chi, do you love Sunan?" Without a second of hesitation, he splurted out, "Nanan, I love you." I stumbled back, step by step. This was the secret he had kept hidden for 3 years. "Do you want to marry Sunan?"
Right now, his eyes are slightly red.
His lips trembling with vulnerability. He steps forward, pulling me into a tight embrace, burying his face in my shoulder as he begs. "Yes, I want to. I want to. Even in my dreams." "Will you marry me?" He-Chi had mistaken me for Sunan. The high and mighty top attorney, He-Si, was now begging so miserably. The truth that he doesn't love me is a blade, stabbing into my heart, over and over again. I tremble with the pain, crushed by utter disappointment. I am nothing but a shadow. And now that his light is back, shadow should fade away. I didn't humiliate myself further, nor did I give him an answer. In the massive room, only the ticking of the clock could be heard. I just stood there, letting him lean his heavy weight against me, letting his warmth wash over me. I had always craved his warmth. From freezing winter nights, I would instinctively lean into him. In the icy wind, I would hold his hands tightly and never let go. But right now, the breeze is so warm and gentle, yet I can't make a single sound. I stand there, completely frozen, until my feet go totally numb, until he loses all his strength. With all my might, I shove Hichi away. He collapses onto the couch and falls fast asleep. That night, for the very first time, we sleep in separate beds. His snoring echoes through the room, while my tears fall in silence. Early the next morning, the ringing of Hichi's phone wakes me up. Lawyer He, you and Nan are moving so fast. The wedding planners have been waiting for ages.
Nan is here too.
Hurry up and get over here. Lori He, then what about your wedding with Dowsy? Do you need me to call it off? Actually, she was the one who reached out to the wedding planners in the first place. He told me I'd be too busy handling the wedding plans all by myself, so he found to help take some of the weight off my shoulders. Back then, I smiled so happily, completely oblivious to the fact that he was actually planning all of this for Sunan. Keep it down. Don't let Taozi hear you. He quickly gets up and rushes into the bedroom. Our eyes meet, but any trace of guilt or panic on Hishi's face is already gone. He looks down, chuckles softly, and walks toward me. Tazi, I'm so sorry I couldn't go dress shopping with you yesterday. Did you find one you like? Do you have any photos? My Dazi looks beautiful in absolutely everything. As he brushes his teeth and gets ready, he keeps rambling on, completely brushing me off. But the truth is, he knows exactly what he's doing. His concern for me is nothing but a routine chore, and his response to my choices is just polite indifference. With heavy dark circles under my eyes, I watch him pace back and forth in front of me, and only stop him right as he's fully dressed and about to walk out the door. Do you really want to marry me? Just 1 week ago, he could propose to me out of the blue. There weren't even any flowers, or a diamond ring. Tossie, will you marry me?
I didn't doubt him for a second.
I simply took it as the most wonderful surprise of my life, with tears pooling in my eyes.
I just nodded silently, over and over again.
Tossie, do you really want to marry me? He jagged over and over to make sure. I gave him a firm, yes I do. But I never once asked if he actually wanted to marry me. I just wanted an answer that would finally crush all my hope. His rushed footsteps frozen mid-air. After 3 seconds, he comforted me with the gentlest voice. What's wrong? Are you stressed about the wedding preparations? It's okay if you can't brew the wedding wine in time. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, okay? Be good. Something came up at the law firm. Let's talk tonight, okay? But I still couldn't let it go, and pressed on. But we promised to take our wedding photos today. He never liked my stubbornness. His decisions were final, and I could never change his mind. A flicker of irritation crossed his usually calm face. His voice turned impatient. Didn't I tell you? Something came up at the firm.
Dadao, what is wrong with you today?
If you can't wait, just go take the photos by yourself. Just leave a space and have them Photoshop me in later. And don't worry about the invitations. The firm just took on a major case. Let's just register the marriage first. As soon as the words left his mouth, he turned and left, without looking back. Overnight, it felt like his soul had been snatched away. He felt like nothing but a fleeting, beautiful dream. I no longer recognized the man I had loved for 3 years. Looking out the window, I saw his frantic figure for the first time. So, that is how fast someone runs when they are rushing to see the person they love. At that moment, I knew for sure she didn't love me anymore. From then on, he kept leaving early and coming home late. It was only through Sunan's social media that I found out the truth. In just 3 days, they completed everything I had planned for 3 years. On day 1, they picked out a wedding dress together. On day 2, they took their wedding photos. On day 3, they wrote the wedding invitations together. And with that, I completely let go of everything related to Hishi. On my first day of moving on, I rented out my winery. On the second day, I sold off all the wine. On the third day, I packed my bags alone. And on the fourth day, it was the day of Hichi and Sunan's wedding. It was also the day I finally walked away, leaving it all behind. At 4 in the morning, hey, he rushed out the door, using a court hearing as his excuse. Blinking in my sleepy eyes, I called out to him. Hichi, this wine is my latest brew. I wish you all the best. Since you're leaving anyway, a proper goodbye is the best way to end this. We met because of brewing wine, so let's end things with wine. He froze for a moment, then smiled and agreed. Sure, once I'm done with this busy streak, we'll drink it together. I kept my head down, staring at my curled up toes. Just take it with you. If you win the lawsuit, consider it a celebration wine. He is utterly confused by my strange behavior, but he knew I had always trusted him unconditionally, so he assumed I'd never find out about his wedding today. At this moment, he obviously didn't have time for me. His bride was eagerly waiting for him, and how could he bear to keep her waiting? He gently stroked my head and vanished into the night. At the wedding venue, and Sunan instantly laid eyes on my wine. Can I use this bottle of wine to toast? You know, I can't hold my liquor.
But the wine Dowsy brews is always so sweet.
It's perfect for today, isn't it? How could he bear to say no to her? He poured the wine immediately. But the second it touched his lips, he froze. The glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor. Right before I boarded the plane, my phone suddenly rang. The caller 499 read, He too always loved sweet wine. When we first met, he would drink every single drop of my wine. Tazi, the wine you brew is so sweet, just like a fresh peach. I absolutely love it. Blushing, I teased him while snuggled in his arms. If there comes a day when I don't love you anymore, you'll only get to drink bitter wine. He proudly held his head high and swore, I'll make sure Tazi loves me forever. I must drink the sweetest wine. But right now, an intense, bitter taste explodes in his mouth, and memories instantly come flooding back. He stands there, completely frozen, letting Sunan urge him to toast the guests. Gee, everyone is waiting. Let's go make a toast. See, hurry up. Everyone is waiting for us. Seeing this, the best man nudges his shoulder. What? Did getting married make you lose your mind? Go on, hurry up. Caught off guard, he soothes his footing. The glass in his hand shatters all over the floor. In an instant, he snaps back to reality. He rips off his boutonniere, turning to leave. Panicked Sunan grabs him. See, today is our wedding. Where are you going? She shakes off her hand, frantically explaining. None. Can we have the wedding next time? Please? Everyone here is a close friend. They'll understand. With that, he turns on his heel and walks away, ending the celebration right then and there. Because everything was so rushed, and because she was so desperate to keep Sunan by his side. Their wedding wasn't grand at all. They had only invited their closest friends. That's why he felt he could just walk out like this. He's always been like this. Once he makes up his mind, absolutely no one can change it. His life has been far too smooth. He believes the entire world should revolve around him. He selfishly wants to possess everything he thinks is his. He doesn't want the woman he longs for to leave, and he refuses to let the one he dreams of night and day slip away. He calls my number over and over, only to be met with a busy signal. He rushes to the winery, only to find the wine cabinets fully stocked. He calls my phone again, but he still only gets a busy signal. He runs to the winery and sees the wine cabinets are completely full. He knows these wines are my absolute favorites, and figures I must not have left yet. Just as he starts to feel relieved, when he got home, he even remembered to grab the leftover wedding invitations from his car. He unlocked the front door as fast as he could, and slipped into the matching couple's slippers I had lovingly prepared for him. Tazi, come quick! Take a look at these wedding invitations, and tell me if you like them. Tazi, I've picked out a few wedding dresses. Look at these photos. Do you like any of them? Toji, I just booked a new photographer. Are you free tomorrow? Hertz had finally answered every single question I had previously asked him, but he didn't get the thrilled, joyful response he expected from me. The clock on the wall kept ticking away, but Hertz never got a single reply. The scattered wedding invitations fluttered in the breeze, and the space next to Hertz's name remained completely blank. Looking around the quiet, empty house, Hertz's face slowly went blank. He naively believed I wouldn't actually go far, naively thinking I would never have the heart to leave him. He actually started planning the entire wedding all by himself. Meanwhile, back in Sangchong, the familiar scent of the rich soil washed over me. This place is barely known to the outside world. To a windmaker, it is an absolute utopia. The Yisu soil nourishes a rare grape variety that has gone extinct overseas, just like the first time I saw them. Each grape is plump, glistening and crystal clear, bursting with a rich, sweet aroma. The winery had been meticulously cared for, with neat display cases showing clear, precise dates. Thanks to the warm and welcoming vibe, the little shop was always bustling with people. This gave me plenty of time to focus on crafting wine in the cellar. In the days spent without Hertz, I no longer felt anxious or insecure. I poured my heart into my craft every single day. Seeing the bright smiles on my customers' faces became my ultimate pride. I no longer needed to revolve my entire life around him. But suddenly, he did a complete about-face and started relentlessly pestering me. Tazi, I've officially chosen this wedding dress. Look at my suit. Doesn't it look incredibly handsome? Tazi, I booked a photographer today. It's okay if you can't make it. I could just Photoshop you in and make you look gorgeous, alright? Tazi, look. I had a famous calligrapher write our wedding invitations. Take a look and tell me if you like them. The names of the newlyweds on the bright red paper caught my eye. Groom. Bride. Du Tao. What a beautiful blessing. This was once the very thing I dreamed of. But now, my heart doesn't feel a single thing. I'll just be forgotten by him, like a passing stranger. Once his little game of guilt is over, everything will return to normal. I never replied to him, but he still did whatever he wanted. He prepared the wedding bands, ordered flowers, and arranged the venue. He acted like nothing was wrong, assuming I was just away on a business trip, and that I'd eventually go back, until a red exclamation mark appeared on every message he sent me, until he got nothing but, "The number you dialed is powered off." For an entire month without a single word from me. Only then did he start looking for me like a madman. There are very few tourists in Zhangchang. It's just fruit farmers and winemakers.
We'd share our farming tips with each other. We always had a wonderful time chatting as the sun set. We look at the grapes covering the hills, and old Lai would argue, "Your grapes aren't as sweet as mine."
What are you talking about, old you? The ones from this plot are definitely the sweetest. Stop arguing, both of you.
Every single grape in my field has a different taste.
How's that for unique? What do you think, old you?
That was my name here, even though I'm much younger than them.
The locals really like me because I often teach them how to make wine.
They warmly call me Old Du. I really love this name. I was standing to the side, laughing with them.
But my joy was instantly wiped away by the man who suddenly appeared before me.
Ditto, why did you block me? Why didn't you answer my calls? Seeing that I remained silent, he suddenly rushed forward and wrapped his arms tightly around me.
Hichi had never, not even once, hugged me in public.
I thought he was just afraid of being in the spotlight. I thought he was too thin-skinned. But now, I'm the one being stared at. I have no desire to become the laughingstock of the entire village tomorrow. I drag him inside. Aside from the shock, I'm mostly just confused.
The very man who wanted me gone. The one who was so sick of me. Why on earth is he showing up now?
I shove him away with all my might.
My voice is cold as ice.
Hetty, what are you doing here?
He freezes for a moment. Then, he grabs my hands in a tight grip.
Tozy, did you forget? Tomorrow is our wedding.
I'm here to take you back. Go have our wedding, okay?
Tozy, I've missed you terribly.
I miss you so much.
I can't even sleep without you by my side.
Heki pours out his longing for me like a torrential downpour.
The deep affection in his eyes almost sways me.
But I'm not falling for it again.
I stare at him with a cold smirk.
Heki, do you even know what you're saying? Your bride is Sunan, not me.
Heiki's brow furrows deeply.
His hands won't stop shaking.
He thought he had hidden it so well. But how could I not find out? But loving someone is a chaotic battle.
How could it ever be kept a secret?
Tozy, it's not what you think.
My marriage to Sunan is just to fulfill a promise we made.
Sunal is sick. Her husband abandoned her. Having a wedding is her absolute biggest wish. I promised her I'd make that scumbag pay.
And that I'd give her a perfect wedding.
Hassie's clistination makes me burst out laughing. My, how incredibly noble and selfless of you.
Heiki, you are absolutely pathetic.
What kind of promise can only be fulfilled by getting married?
What's next? If Sunar asks you to give her a child, are you going to say yes to that too?
And if her wishes to, think with you. Would you just turn around and end your life for her too? Is he, she, putting on some tragic drama show here?
I've been a divorce lawyer for so long. Even if I haven't been through it myself, I know a fake act when I see one.
His web of lies was completely exposed.
He stumbled backward, crashing into a row of wine glasses.
Shattered glass showered the floor.
And along with it, whatever love we had was shattered, never to be pieced back together.
Right. If he didn't love her, why would he tell all his friends and family?
Why would they even go through with a wedding?
Tati, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I'll never let myself be soft-hearted again.
I found the best doctors for Sunan.
I won't contact her ever again, okay?
Let's go back and get married.
Can we please just go back to how we were? Please?
Chi has always been the type to admit his mistakes and fix them. Every time I got angry, he'd readily apologize and offer a solution.
But I'm not some corporate boss.
I don't care how good your solutions are. All I know is, if I don't love something anymore, I throw it away.
And if I don't love someone, I walk away. Hihi. I don't love you anymore.
We're over. I'm never going back to you.
Seeing me speak so calmly and effortlessly, his voice starts to crack. Choking back tears, he demanded, "Datao. Why?
Why don't you love me anymore?
We promised we'd be together forever.
We said we'd drink every wine in the world together." His desperate begging looks so familiar.
Because in my nightmares, he was exactly like this.
During those endless dark nights, he had begged over and over again.
Begging for the girl in his dreams to come back, begging her to love him just one more time.
And back then,
I foolishly stayed right by his side,
whispering to soothe him.
"See, I'm here.
I'm always here."
Looking back, I was just a fool who misread everything. I look at him now, my eyes filled with disgust.
Gee, please stop playing the innocent victim in front of me. You're nothing but a liar who plays with people's feelings.
What does Sunan dumping you have to do with me?
Why the hell did you have to mess with me in the first place? Now he wants to play the reformed playboy and crawl back to you? What kind of pathetic game are you trying to play now? I screamed every vile, filthy word I could think of, hoping that this way, she would finally stop loving me, and that I could finally be rid of him.
But he just stood there, completely still.
He just listened, taking in every single word.
No arguments, no interruptions. As if doing this would somehow win my forgiveness.
As if I would actually leave with him.
Finally, after I finished spitting my venom, she looked immensely relieved. He slowly opened his mouth and said, "Taozi,
if you don't want to go back, then can we get married here?" Before I could even reply, he turned and ran out. I was so furious, I downed an entire glass of water just to calm myself.
He and I are so alike in our stubbornness. Yet we couldn't be further apart.
I didn't care about a single word he said.
But my great mood for the day was completely ruined because of him.
I told Song Sing to close up the bars early and call it a day. Before leaving, Song Sing suggested taking me out for a walk. Song Sing and I were classmates in college. We opened the bars together in Sanchong.
He was always so cheerful with everyone. But 3 years ago, when I was about to run off with He Chi, we had our very first fight.
After that, we barely kept in touch. Every month, he would send me the wine orders we needed, and I would ship them back to him on time.
When I finally saw him again, he had become much quieter. Seeing me return all alone,
He tactfully kept his distance.
our conversations were limited to basic greetings and brewing.
But today, he was unusually warm and forward.
Tazi, do you want some of your favorite butter tea?
Taji, do you want to try my new brew for this year?
Tazi, the grapes are almost ripe. Do you want to try some? He was so incredibly cautious. It reminded me of how we used to be. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. All right, let's see if your skills have actually improved. Song Sing and I drank glass after glass.
Talked about so much that night.
Yet neither of us breathed a single word about that fight because we both knew it was in the past. But the next morning, I was rudely woken up by He Chi. My hangover left me with a splitting headache. I dragged myself out of bed, only to find him waiting at my door with a crowd of people.
Toddy, look. Do you like,
About a Chinese-style wedding dress. Do you like that?
or maybe a Western-style one? Or how about a traditional Tibetan one?
Why don't we just get a set of photos in each style, okay? He C was a man of absolute action. Once he set his mind on something, he had to see it through.
The moment he decided to take me away, he packed up and left immediately. The moment he decided to propose to me,
He dropped to one knee without any preparation.
and when he decided to change brides, he swapped us out just like that.
I utterly loathed this complete lack of respect.
In that moment, he made me feel completely suffocated. I stepped forward.
My voice laced with annoyance.
Have I not made myself clear enough?
I am not marrying you. Please leave. Right now.
Not a single trace of sadness showed on his face.
He obediently led everyone away.
But after that, she was like a ghost that refused to leave.
He would weed the vineyard with me, asking what style of ring I preferred.
He would wash glasses with me at the tavern while asking about wedding venues, and help me carry boxes in the warehouse while discussing the guest list. And every single time, I rejected him and chased him away.
His shameless, relentless pestering finally came to a head one evening.
Zinon came looking for me.
She threw a thick stack of Utah hospital medical reports right in my face, tears streaming down her face. Sunart snarled at me.
Dao, you're nothing but my shadow. How do you deserve to have Hot Tea treat you like this? Dao,
Do you have any idea?
He was the one who convinced me to get a divorce. He said he would take responsibility for me. How could he go back on his word?
I had to threaten my own life just to get that wedding. Dao, can you love someone with your entire life? No, you can't.
But I can. I lost him for 3 years.
If it wasn't for a homewrecker like you,
His heart would have belonged only to me for the past 3 years.
Sudun wept bitterly, looking incredibly pitiful.
Loading all of her grievances onto me. I watched her quietly, waiting until she finally stopped talking. I let out a soft laugh
and said calmly, Sunan, if you're sick, go get treated.
It's not my fault you're sick. Why are you showing up now just to play the victim?
You're the one throwing your own life away. So why the hell are you blaming me?
If you honestly think playing the pity card can keep a man,
Then you don't lock him down tight.
and stop letting him cling to me like a piece of used chewing gum that I can't shake off. You love Ishii?
Fine, you have my blessing. Please, just take him away. Get the hell out of my sight.
Every sharp word I spat out hit him right where it hurt.
Sunan was left completely speechless.
This was absolutely not what he had expected.
He thought today would be a vicious battle. But instead, it felt like throwing a punch into thin air. Sunan's depression was entirely of his own making. Years ago, ignoring He's desperate pleas to stay, he threw himself into moving overseas with a wealthy man.
But he was never satisfied.
Anything that came too easily quickly lost its charm. So, he began to miss He again. He drowned himself in guilt and romanticized his own tragic love story. Eventually, he literally tortured himself into falling ill.
Because deep down, he believed only a broken, frail body could win back Heechi's forgiveness.
And he actually succeeded. He got a divorce, and he got Heju to agree to marry him. Everything seemed to be back on track. But in reality, everything had changed. He had won, yet somehow, he had lost. But after scheming so meticulously, how could he possibly allow himself to fail now? Like a maniac, he began smashing everything within reach.
Bottles of deep red wine shattered across the floor,
The dark liquid gurgling as it spilled everywhere. Just as he raised a bottle to hurl it right at me, Think Sing shielded me, pulling me tightly into his chest. At that exact moment, He rushed in and grabbed Sunan's arm. Seeing him, Sunan wailed even louder. Why don't you want me anymore?
I don't want to go to the hospital. Please just take me home, okay? I am your wife. I want to be with you.
But this time, Chi didn't hesitate. He coldly and decisively rejected Sunan.
Our game is over.
You know that.
I can't marry you. I've already fallen for Du Tao.
Can we please just stop clinging to each other?
He stared at me,
hoping to catch even a flicker of emotion on my face. But affection that comes too late is nothing but trash. Besides, I couldn't care less about giving him a single glance. Right now, Song Sing was leaning weakly against my shoulder.
Song Sing,
are you okay? Where does it hurt? Is it here? Or here? I frantically checked Song Sing's back. The giant red stain making it impossible to tell if it was blood or wine. I was shaking all over, desperate to rip a shirt off right then and there to check his wounds. Seeing me care so deeply about another man, the composure she had forced himself to maintain for days instantly shattered. He rushed forward recklessly and yanked me up. Du Dao, are you deaf? I said, I'm in love with you. 3 years. I guess this counts as confession. He had never once spoken of love to me before. And back then, I didn't force it. But now that he's blurting it out, I don't want to hear it. I violently shook off his hand. Yeah, I'm deaf. Your words are so disgusting. I don't want to hear a single word of them. Now take this crazy woman and get the hell out of here. If you want to play mad, do it at home. Don't dirty my place with your presence. Chi didn't back down. That stubborn, relentless attitude of his was truly repulsive. Driven mad with anger, he burst into a wild laugh and even fell to his knees on a pile of broken glass. Posey, I beg you. Just say you love me. Please. At this moment, I realized she and Sunan deserted each other. One going insane for love, the other losing their mind over it. But it was nothing more than their own pathetic self-delusion. What did any of it have to do with me? The man I loved had already vanished into the night long ago, and I won't give him even a single drop of my love ever again. I didn't want to waste another breath on these two. Supporting Song Xing, I walked right past them. Just as we were about to reach the door, he soothly pulled a lighter out of his pocket. Without any hesitation, he lit it. Fed by the alcohol, the flames erupted instantly. He screamed at me like a madman. Taozi! I'm going to end it all right now. Are you going to save him or me? I never expected Hishi to threaten me with his own life. The flames began to spread. Sunan ran out, absolutely terrified. I screamed at him. Hichi! Have you completely lost your mind? Get out of there, now! The man just wept, refusing to budge. Tozi, please save me, okay? Save me! Even Sunan, who had collapsed in terror nearby, grabbed the hem of my shirt and begged. Dodo, please save Sasha. I won't fight you for him anymore. I won't try to steal him. Just save him, please. In an instant, I was backed into a moral corner, with no time to think. I grabbed a fire extinguisher and was about to rush forward, but a crowd of people dragged me back. The neighbors rushed over with fire extinguishers, cursing. Which bastard set this fire? Do they want to die? The broadcast warns us about fire safety every single day. Are they deaf or what? They don't even care about their own life. Pathetic. They make me sick. 5 minutes later, he was forcibly dragged out by the crowd. Still struggling, he screamed my name at my retreating back. Du Tao! Song Sing was rushed to a nearby clinic. Fortunately, his injuries weren't too severe. When I helped him walk out, Hiki was standing at the door, waiting for me. His face and hands were covered in soot. His hair was a complete mess, and his clothes were covered in ash. Who could have thought that such a refined gentleman would ever end up looking like this? He stood there, looking utterly pathetic, but I couldn't feel even a shred of pity for him. Without saying a word, I walked right up and slapped him across the face. The slap was so hard that He almost stumbled. Your life doesn't mean a single thing to me. You truly disgust me. Just leave. You're not welcome here. With a hoarse voice and bloodshot eyes, he choked out. Tazi, do you really not love me anymore? Before he could even finish, I cut him off instantly. No, I don't love you, and I never will again. He had already tried to confirm this with me countless times. As for loving Hisi, I didn't in the past, and I certainly don't now. Tears streamed down Hisi's face as he sobbed uncontrollably. But, Dazi, I still love you. I still love you. What am I supposed to do? I thought when Sunan came back, I wouldn't need you anymore. But I was wrong. I need you. I can't live without you, Daozi. Please, I'm begging you, just love me one more time, okay? Just this once. I turned my head away, sick of looking at his pathetic, miserable face. He must it. I'm begging you too. Stop loving me, okay? And do you even love me? These past 3 years, did you ever actually love me? You only loved my wine. You only loved the feeling I gave you. The feeling of Sunan. Because Sunan changed. She wasn't the person you used to love anymore. She couldn't give you that spark anymore. That's why you used me as her replacement. If the day ever came where I couldn't give you that feeling of love either, I bet you'd discard and replace me just as easily.
Ichi, wake up.
Stop lying to yourself. Good night. Without looking back, I leaned on Song Sing and walked away. When the winery was finally rebuilt, Song Sing and I hosted a banquet for all our neighbors.
First, to thank them for their help.
And second, to say a final, complete goodbye to the past. As the firecrackers crackled and the crowd laughed, my life gradually returned to a peaceful, quiet routine. Planting grapes, harvesting them, and making wine became my entire life. 1 month later, I received a package from Hichi. He had thanked the very last bottle of Nianxin. Completely untouched. I didn't open it. Instead, I just tossed it right into the trash. On the way home, the church bells began to chime. Local farmers, busy all day, were heading home under the setting sun. I quickened my pace, running toward the person waiting for me at the door. After Hertz's crazy arson stunt at the winery, he finally reined in all his obsession and madness. He stopped using love as an excuse to hold Du Dao hostage and no longer begged on his knees just to get a single glance. He rented a tiny, rundown shack in a remote corner of Shangshang and quietly settled down. Every day, he would watch Du Dao from a distance, guarding in his own clumsy, silent way this place that he had once destroyed with his own hands, but now desperately wanted to protect. As for Sunan, after being rejected by Hertz time and time again, he finally realized that Hertz was never coming back. He let go of all his hopes at last. He stopped hanging around the winery and no longer tried to guilt-trip Hertz with sickness and tears. He understood that the man he had cast aside years ago truly did not belong to him anymore, and that love he had schemed so hard to steal was nothing but a self-indulgent delusion. In the end, he had to leave in utter humiliation, vanishing from their lives forever. Du Dao completely put the past behind him, throwing all his energy into the winery and winemaking. He locked away the recipe for Nianxin, burying that one-sided love deep within the sands of time, never to be touched again, never to be remembered. Every day before dawn, he would walk into the vineyard, letting his fingertips brush against the plump, translucent grapes, feeling the crisp, sweet aroma bestowed upon the fruit by the sun and the soil. His heart was filled with absolute peace and stability. He was no longer making wine for anyone else, no longer catering to anyone's tastes, and no longer carefully tweaking the sweetness and texture to please others. He only followed his own heart, crafting a flavor that truly belonged to him. The newly brewed wine tasted smooth and rich, with a clean, lingering aroma. It carried no artificial sweetness designed to please, leaving behind nothing but a calm, clear wisdom that only time could bring. As soon as it was launched, it became an instant hit. Business at the winery started booming day by day. The once quiet courtyard was suddenly bustling with life, with guests constantly coming and going and endless busy days. His once empty, restless heart was finally filled. Through it all, Song Sing stayed right by Du Dao's side, gentle and quiet, always knowing exactly what to do, never saying too much and never crossing the line. He remembered every single one of his habits, knowing he liked a glass of warm water first thing in the morning, knowing he hated being disturbed while brewing wine, and knowing he loved sitting under the grapevine to catch the breeze when he was tired. Whenever the winery got busy, he would silently move the heavy wine barrels, organize the wine racks, and welcome the guests. And when he stayed up all night brewing, he would quietly stay by his side, keeping a lamp lit for him, and gently draping a coat over his shoulders. When he faced a difficult problem, he would calmly help him analyze it and work through it with him. He never said anything overly dramatic or sappy and never put the slightest bit of pressure on him. His devotion was like a mountain breeze, like the morning mist, gentle, soft, and endless. It never suffocated him. It was always there, surrounding him, giving him total peace of mind and someone to lean on. Du Dao knew exactly how Song Sing felt, and he knew just how precious this companionship was. But having just escaped a deeply scarred, toxic relationship, he simply didn't have the emotional energy to fall in love again. Song Sing never pushed him, only softly, telling him that he was willing to wait until the day he was ready to open his heart again. No matter how long it took, he didn't mind. He too watched all of this unfold, and the regret in his heart deepened, day by day. He finally realized just how rare and precious Du Dao's love truly was, the very love he had ruthlessly trampled under his own feet. He remembered how Du Dao used to happily brew new wine, just for him. He remembered how she used to follow him around, chattering happily. He remembered her waiting up for him on countless nights. He remembered how gently she took care of him whenever he got drunk. He remembered how her eyes used to shine with love and hope for him. But what did he do? He took her sacrifices completely for granted. He treated her genuine love as mere comfort for his loneliness. He saw her existence as nothing but a shadow of Sunan. When she needed his devotion and reassurance the most, he chose to ignore her, time and time again, hurting her with his cold indifference. He had even declared in front of everyone
Nainan will die without me, but Du Dao will be fine. How could he say something so cruel?
Now seeing her look so relaxed and at ease, so calm and at peace,
He knew deep down. He knew deep down the Dado whose entire world used to revolve around him was truly gone forever.
he no longer dared to step forward and disturb her.
He could only try to make amends in his own quiet way. Every day, long before dawn, he would secretly slip into the vineyard. He helped trim the leaves, pull the wheel, and tidy up the vines.
He had grown up in pampered luxury,
Never having done a single day of hard labor. In just half a day,
the rough vines would wear bloody blisters onto his palms.
sweat completely soaked his clothes, clinging to his skin, sticky
And itchy.
Yet he gritted his teeth and pushed through. His movements were clumsy, but incredibly earnest. The scorching sun burned his skin,
And an insects bit him relentlessly.
but he never stopped. He just kept working. In silence,
Just watching Du Dao walk into the vineyard from afar
brought a quiet sense of peace to his heart. When passing villagers saw him, they couldn't help but whisper. Some said he got exactly what he deserved.
Some said his regret came way too late.
Others urged him to just leave
And stop disrupting Du Dao's peaceful life.
He never makes excuses. He doesn't get angry or throw a tantrum. He just keeps his head down and keeps working. He knows that anything he says now will sound completely hollow. What he owes Du Tao isn't something a few simple apologies can fix.
It's not a debt he can ever pay off with just a few days of hard labor.
He's just desperately trying to do anything to ease the agonizing guilt and pain gnawing at his soul day and night. Every time Du Dao sees him working tirelessly in the vineyard, his face remains completely blank. He doesn't chase him away, but he doesn't speak to him either.
It's like passing a total stranger on the street, cold and indifferent. He doesn't even spare him a fraction of a second of his gaze. Once, a single look from He Chi,
or just a brief, half-hearted word of concern, would make his heart flutter. Once, his cold neglect and late nights would keep him awake, crying until dawn.
he used to be Du Dao's entire world, his only source of hope.
And Du Dao had loved him so desperately that he humbled himself to the absolute dust. His presence can't affect his emotions anymore. He can no longer pull at his heartstrings.
Du Dao's heart had already closed off after endless disappointments.
And grown cold from all the pain. That exhausting, toxic relationship is something he threw away with his own hands long ago. He will never, ever pick it back up.
When He Tree brings him the wild berries he used to love,
Du Dao throws them straight into the trash without even looking.
when he silently repairs the broken fences around the winery,
Du Dao doesn't say a single word.
even when He quietly covers the barrels with tarps in the pouring rain.
Du Dao merely accepts it with cold indifference, without a shred of gratitude.
Because to him,
He is nothing but ancient history. He is a bad dream Du Dao never wants to remember again. Now that he's finally awake, it's time to move on completely.
as the days go by, the sun over Sang City shines warm and bright.
The grapes in the vineyard grow plumper by the day,
And the rich aroma of wine fills the air. Du Dao's life has become simple.
fulfilling, and peaceful. He no longer worries about what might have been, and he no longer has to walk on eggshells. No more making himself miserable just to please others.
No more forcing fake smiles for anyone's sake.
He could brew wine whenever he felt like it, just zone out in absolute peace and quiet,
And laugh and chat with the neighbors without a care in the world.
He was finally living every single day on his own terms.
This kind of life, free from control,
Free from crushing expectations, and free from pain, allowed him to finally breathe easy.
he became bright, gentle, and incredibly strong.
He finally realized that the best kind of life isn't about clinging to someone else, reading around, or trying to please them.
It's about relying on yourself.
Protecting your own little corner of the world and living the life you actually want. As Hertz watched him thrive more and more each day, his heart ached with a painful mix of relief and agony. He was relieved because Du Tao had finally escaped that dark shadow and had become the version of himself he always wanted to be. But agonizing, because the one giving him this peace and happiness wasn't him. Countless times he looked back at the past, wondering,
What if he hadn't been so blinded by his obsession?
what if he had chosen him without hesitation? What if he had actually cherished everything he did for him?
What if he hadn't hurt him over and over again? All for Sunan.
Would they have had a different ending?
But there are no what-ifs in this world.
A missed chance is missed forever, and the pain inflicted can't be undone. Once a heart dies, you can never make it warm again. He began tying up all his loose ends, one by one.
He shut down the hidden identities that connected him to Du Dao, the ones he'd never made public.
He sold off his downtown properties,
And quietly transferred all the financial compensation he could to Da's name. He didn't tell him,
nor did he ask for forgiveness.
he just wanted to make one final, small amends for his past selfishness and coldness.
He knew these things were worthless compared to the genuine love Du Tao once gave him.
But it was the only thing he had left to offer.
He still stayed near the vineyard every day, just watching Du Dao and Song Xing work side by side.
Watching the two of them talk so in sync,
Watching Song Xing think, feeling a slat of water, watching the relaxed, natural smile on his face. It was a side of him he had never seen before. It was a sense of peace he had never given him.
I finally woke up to reality.
Did Dav ever wanted expensive gifts, grand, passionate vows, or an exciting life?
All he ever wanted was to be fiercely, unconditionally chosen.
Sincere appreciation, blatant, unapologetic favoritism, an irreplaceable sense of security. Yet, in those 3 years, he had never given him any of it. By the time he finally wanted to give it to him, he no longer needed it. Late autumn came, and the grape harvest was finally over. The winery welcomed its most peaceful and leisurely time of the year. Didao sat under the grape trellis, looking at the bountiful harvest in the vineyard, inhaling the faint aroma of wine in the air. His heart was filled with absolute peace. Kurt slowly walked up and stopped a short distance away. He didn't come any closer. He just stood there, watching him from afar in silence for a very, very long time. Finally, he spoke softly, his voice raspy and exhausted, carrying a long overdue sincerity and regret. He said he was sorry. He knew what a bastard he'd been back then, and how deeply he had hurt him. He didn't beg for forgiveness, nor did he expect him to look back. He only wished him peace and happiness for the rest of his life, hoping he would never meet anyone like him again, and never have to suffer even a single grievance. He said he was leaving.
Leaving Sanchang.
Leaving his world behind. He promised he would never disturb his peace again.
Didao didn't look back.
Nor did he say a word. He just sat there quietly, gazing into the distance, as the warm sunlight fell upon him, gentle and bright. There was no hatred on her face, no resentment, no pain, only a serene, peaceful calm. As for Hertz's departure, she didn't feel a single ripple of emotion. It was like the wind rustling through leaves or water flowing over smooth stones, entirely natural, with no strings attached. That 3-year-long toxic entanglement, that time which made her feel so small, so broken and terrified, had finally, truly come to an end at this very moment. Hertz took one last look at her, his eyes filled with lingering regret and sorrow. In the end, he turned and walked away. He didn't look back. Stepped out of the vineyard,
Out of Xiaocheng.
and completely out of Du Tao's life. He buried that bottle of Nanking Rhine, the one he never got to gift, deep beneath the grapevine, burying his youthful obsession, burying his 3 years of cold indifference, and burying all his too-late affection and bitter regrets. From now on, their paths would never cross again, and the past would remain unspoken. He paid the heaviest price for his mistakes, forever losing the girl who once loved him with all her heart and soul. Didao remained sitting under the grape trellis as the breeze gently lifted her hair. Signed and weightless, Songxing walked over to her side, Septa handing her a warm glass of wine. He didn't say a word, just quietly, staying by her side.
Didao took the glass, her fingertips touching the warm glass,
And a deep sense of peace filled her heart. She took a gentle sip. As the rich, mellow aroma bloomed on her tongue, there was no sweetness, no bitterness. Only the warmth and tranquility settled by the passing of time. Her past pain had long since transformed into the strength to grow, and her past tears and grievances had turned into the calm determination in her eyes today. She was no longer that girl who would humble herself to the dust for the sake of love. He is no longer that shadow weeping silently in the dead of night. He is independent, clear-headed, and fiercely gentle, the strong Du Tao. He is a winemaker with his own estate, his own career, and his own life. He no longer needs to depend on anyone or walk on eggshells around anyone. He never has to live in fear for anyone else again. Now he can craft wine for himself, life for himself, and shine as his brightest, truest self. As the sun sets, golden light bathes the entire vineyard, and the sweet aroma of wine drifts through the air, warm and deeply healing. Didao looks up at Songxing beside him and offers a soft smile, a smile pure and free of burdens. The past is finally in the past. The wounds have healed, and the regrets have been laid to rest. The road ahead is long. The sun is bright, the breeze is gentle, and the scent of wine lingers sweetly. He can finally let go of all his burdens, move forward with a light heart, and live only for himself. He knows that love may come late, and love may betray, but he will never betray himself. For the rest of his days, he will watch over this vineyard, protect his own winery, and craft the purest of wines. After he left Sangchang, Ditao's life returned completely to a peaceful, steady rhythm. There were no more sudden, messy confrontations, no more unexpected disruptions, and certainly no late-night phone calls or heart-racing, anxious texts. A sense of peace and warmth enveloped the entire winery. He continued his simple routine of working at sunrise and resting at sunset. Every morning, he would step into the vineyard, feeling the cool breeze brush against his cheek. Watching the crystal dewdrops roll off the grape leaves, a sense of peace finally filled his heart. He began tending to every corner of the winery with even greater care, reorganizing and restocking the cellar, labeling each bottle from different years and different flavors one by one.
As his fingertips brushed across the cool glass, it felt like he was touching a brand new life. He no longer tried to run from his past, nor did he force himself to remember it. He just let time naturally heal and wash away the scars. Sometimes, during breaks from winemaking, he would still think of those years with Hisi. He'd remember how he used to chase after him, holding a bottle of new wine, or those nights when Hisi would drunkenly, hollowly whisper that he loved him, and then the sheer pain of crying himself to sleep in the dead of night. But now, when those memories surfaced, there was no more stinging pain in his heart, no more lingering resentment, and no more bitter grudges. All that remained was a gentle, quiet peace, as if those things belonged to another lifetime. He finally understood that truly letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means when you look back, your heart doesn't even skip a beat. Meanwhile, Sang Sing stayed by his side in the most comforting way, never rushing, never crowding him. He never pushed for romance or pressured him in any way. He was just there whenever he was needed, helping out when things got busy, and offering quiet companionship when he just wanted to be silent. During the winery's busiest season, Sang Sing would prepare all the tools ahead of time. When Du Sao bent down to pick grapes, Sang Sing would gently steady him by the arm. And when he stayed up late tasting wine, a warm glass of water would always appear right by his hand. He knew every single one of his little habits. He knew how he liked to savor the aroma before taking a sip. He knew he preferred wiping the bottles in one smooth motion from neck to base. And he knew that when he was exhausted, he loved sitting under the grapevine trellis to watch the sunset. Slowly, Dudao grew used to this gentle warmth, and his walls began to crumble. He stopped pushing people away just because he had been hurt before, and refused to let one failed relationship lock his heart away forever. He started opening up, sharing his winemaking secrets with Sang Sing, and chatting about the local life and customs of Songqiao. Whenever they talked about their future plans for the winery and strolled side by side through the vineyard, their steps fell into a perfect, steady rhythm. They clicked instantly, and even the air between them felt warm, easy, and full of unspoken understanding. The neighbors would often tease them with a smile, saying they were a match made in heaven. A talented gentleman and a beautiful lady, a perfect couple. Hearing this, Dudao no longer dodged the comments in a panic. Instead, she would just offer a soft smile, a gentle warmth, softening her eyes. In the blink of an eye, early winter arrived. The temperature in Songchang slowly dropped, and the vineyard leaves took on a pale, golden hue. Yet, inside the winery, the aroma of wine only grew richer and more mellow. The winter wine Dudao carefully poured her heart into had a smooth, velvety taste. It left a sweet, lingering aftertaste, making it an instant hit with the visitors. Many even traveled from far away just to get a taste of her handcrafted wine. As the winery's reputation grew, orders started pouring in. But Dudao stayed true to her roots. She remained calm and patient, never rushing or getting greedy, insisting that every single bottle be crafted with love. She began to learn how to truly embrace everything life had to offer. The pain of her past, the warmth of her present, and the endless possibilities of her future. She no longer forced herself to be strong all the time, nor did she bottle up her feelings anymore. When she was happy, she laughed. When she was tired, she rested. And when she felt hurt, she was finally willing to show her vulnerability to someone she trusted. One day, while brewing, she accidentally cut her finger on a broken bottle. Instantly, Sang Sing grabbed her hand in a panic, carefully and gently tending to her wound. The worry and heartache in his eyes were completely bare. Dudao looked up at him. The moment their eyes met, a long-lost sense of comfort and warmth washed over her. It wasn't about submissive pleasing or trying too hard to fit in, although least of all, some temporary comfort for lonely hearts. Instead, it was the feeling of being kept in someone's heart, a deep sense of security that comes from being truly cherished. She finally understood that a truly beautiful relationship is never about one-sided sacrifice or walking on eggshells just to please someone. It is about mutual respect, trusting one another, and choosing each other with absolute certainty. She had given her nothing but endless waiting, disappointment, and heartbreak, while Sang Sing offered her a gentle, constant companionship, a wordless understanding, and a peace of mind that never wavered. She once thought she would never believe in love again and would never open her heart to anyone else. But at this very moment, long frozen corners of her heart were finally, slowly melted by his warmth. Meanwhile, he far away in the city, was living a life of utter darkness. He had left the countryside, severed all connections related to Sunan, and threw all his energy into his work. Yet, no matter how busy he kept himself, the void in his heart could never be filled. He never drank sweet wine again. Every time he saw anything related to wine, he couldn't help but think of Dutao. He remembered her gentle smile, the way she looked when she was focused on making wine, and the coldness in her eyes after he broke her heart. He would often sit alone in his empty room, sitting there for the entire night, playing their past memories over and over in his mind. Regret wrapped around him like suffocating vines, leaving him completely breathless. And finally, truly understood that every word Dutao had said back then was the absolute truth. He had never truly loved her. Instead, he only loved the shadow of Sunan she carried, her unconditional devotion, and the easy comfort she provided that he thought could be replaced at any moment.
But by the time he finally woke up and wanted to cherish her, the woman whose eyes once held nothing but him
Had already been pushed away by his own hands, never to look back. He'd had tried everything to make amends, cried begging on his knees,
and tried protecting her from the shadows, but it was all too late.
Once a heart dies, no amount of regret can change a thing.
Occasionally, he would still hear news of Du Dao from mutual friends.
He heard his winery was doing better and better.
He heard he was living a peaceful and happy life.
He heard there was someone else gently keeping him company. And every single time he heard this sharp stabbing pain would surge in his chest.
Yet, he had to admit that this bright, carefree Du Dao
Was him at his absolute best, shining so brightly.
and he was destined to be nothing more than a closed chapter in Du Dao's life.
On this crisp winter day,
The sunlight was warm and soft.
Dao stood beneath the great trellis.
watching Song Sing's busy figure in the winery, a gentle smile crept onto his lips.
He softly raised his hand, feeling the warm sunlight on his fingertips,
His heart completely at peace and free.
In the past,
He'd humbled himself for love, lost his way for love, and suffered endless grievances for love.
but now,
He was independent and clear-headed.
gentle yet incredibly strong.
He had a career he loved, someone who truly cherished him, and a life that finally belonged to him. He slowly walked up to Song Sing and spoke softly, and so, his voice gentle yet firm. Once we get through this busy season, let's expand the winery together.
Song Sing turned to look at him.
His eyes overflowing with adoration and a warm smile. He nodded gently. All right. Whatever you want to do, I'm right here with you. Just a simple promise.
Yet it filled Du Dao's heart with absolute peace. He knew the pain of the past was completely gone.
And his future would be filled with warmth and light. He no longer had to depend on anyone,
And he no longer had to wait for anyone.
he no longer needed to please anyone. He just needed to be himself, to love himself, and cherish the person right in front of him, and to walk his own path with confidence.
A gentle breeze swept by,
Carrying the sweet scent of wine from the estate. It was warm, soothing, and full of peace.
Du Dao looked up into the distance.
The setting sun painted the sky in a warm, gentle orange. Life was beautifully peaceful, and the future was bright. He had finally become the person he always wanted to be. Unhurried and calm, holding his head high with dignity. Quiet, yet burning with passion. Living life entirely on his own terms.